This is Jared, Jacob, and Will. We're doing a financial analysis on Johnson and Johnson. This is an executive summary. Johnson and Johnson's current price is 160.39 with a 52-week high of 173.65 and a 52-week low of 133.65 with a current earnings per share of $5.51.
All right, so I'll be talking about the sector and industry. Johnson & Johnson was founded in 1886 by Robert Wood Johnson in New Brunswick, New Jersey. They are involved in the consumer health, pharmaceutical, and medical devices industries and are part of the healthcare sector along with other companies like CVS and United Health Group. The ESG score is comprised of a 0.7 for environment, 19.8 for social, and 9.8 for governance, which gives J&J a 30 recommended or are rated as a high by Yahoo Finance. All these scores are rated out of 100, and the lower the score, the better. This puts J&J in the 59th percentile. Conservation. J&J is committed to reducing the carbon footprint of operations, supply chain, and products, improving water and energy efficiency, and addressing commodity-driven deforestation, as well as increasing the use of renewable resources. They are very committed to their people and relationships. The J&J Foundation is supporting making quality healthcare accessible to everyone, especially healthcare workers on the front lines. They also have a global pro bono program where they send employees overseas to different countries for free. And they have a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy where they are advancing the culture, inclusion, and belonging of all of their employees. This is just a quick glimpse at the board of directors. Proxy issues, they hit over 5 main things: electing the nominees, voting on an advisory basis, keeping PwC as their auditor, voting on 4 shareholder proposals, and transacting other matters before the annual meeting. As far as consistency with the Christian faith, the BRII parameter ratings report gives J&J a total score of 19. However, there is no score here for tobacco, alcohol, gambling, or pornography. So J&J only received a 4 for the abortion score. And out of all of these categories, abortion is the only one related to Anderson University bylaws, meaning that Johnson & Johnson is consistent with the Christian faith for the Anderson University Fund. Next, we have the industry overview and competitive positioning. So I'll just briefly go over strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. One strength is that Johnson & Johnson has been around since 1886 and that they are currently available in 60 different countries. A weakness is that they have a recent decline in consumer health sales. An opportunity is that they have a one-shot vaccine for COVID-19, and a threat is that they are competing with Pfizer and Moderna for the COVID-19 vaccine. They have an existing rivalry, and it's rated as high with companies such as Pfizer and United Health Group. They have a threat of entrance rated at moderately risky for new entrants because of the consideration on new products and new ways of doing things, and trying to focus on R&D makes it moderately risky for new entrants. The threat of substitutes has a high threat because of technological advancement and advancement in the health industry. And buyer power, J&J offers several coupons and discounts to make their products affordable to customers, which is an advantage that they have working with insurance companies rather than the customers directly. Supplier power is low because there are multiple different suppliers that have the raw materials that Johnson & Johnson uses. And an economic model shows that the market cap is at $422 billion. They have a high potential growth with advancements in medicine and technology, and COVID-19 is crucial to the economy and currently developing and changing. Let's go into the financial analysis. The correlation matrix shows that J&J has a beta of 0.71, meaning that the volatility of J&J is less than that of the industry benchmarks like CVS and United Health Group. And it has an R squared of 0.49, showing that the variances in the dependent variables explained by independent variables of J&J is higher than that of its peers, meaning the relation is more paired to the XLV sector as a whole rather than the other companies listed. And now Jared's going to talk about the comparative balance sheet.
All right, kind of going into the financial analysis portion. Just a few things to point out here. When you're looking at the cash and equivalents for the assets, they've gone down about $3,320 since the previous year to this year. I mean, their receivables are also down, as well as their liabilities. So just a few things to point out here. Moving on to the sales forecast. We are mainly using the geometric average for our growth rate. And you can see over here on the graph, there's been a steady increasing growth throughout the last 10 years. Taking a look at the income statement forecast, forecasting everything into the next year based on current, using our sales growth at 2.69. Our EPS score is a 5.59 for this year, and we're forecasting an EPS score or a earnings per share of 5.71 with 2,670 shares outstanding. All right, now moving into the valuation analysis. Will's going to take over from here.
All right, we're looking into the historical values here. I wanted to point out the 2017 earnings per share of being 0.47. That shouldn't be an issue in there, as it went back up to $5.61. With the 47-cent earnings per share of 2017, it brings it from $5.11 to $4.65. And moving on to the dividend and free cash flow models. Looking here, the free cash flow growth on the constant free cash flow model is 3%, significantly lower than that of the historical values, close to 6.5% because of the increase in research and development for the COVID vaccinations with the FDA complications here recently. And going on to the multiple models and peer comparison. Just wanted to show the earnings per share of 2017 at 47% or 47 cents, and how we disregarded that from the PE ratio as well, and showing the comparisons to their competitors. And moving on to investment risk. The investment risk, regulatory risk. Johnson & Johnson faced a major regulatory risk with the FDA due to recent studies showing that their COVID vaccine can lead to possible blood clots. On consumer taste, Johnson & Johnson have been the first to develop a single treatment COVID vaccine, contrary to the competitors who require 2 treatments of their respective vaccines. This helped Johnson & Johnson stand out amongst their competitors in the COVID vaccine market. Scenario analysis. Best case scenario, the Johnson & Johnson vaccines requires very little research and development to correct any errors with their single treatment vaccinations, and stock prices surpass their forecasted growth rate of 2.69%. Worst case scenario, Johnson & Johnson expends much of their assets in research and development to correct vaccine woes. Patients of the first vaccinations file lawsuits, and the Johnson & Johnson investors become bearish. Likely scenario is Johnson & Johnson faces small losses during the time of research and development to improve their vaccinations and regain the trust of their patients. And Johnson & Johnson continues a steady growth of 2.69% in the foreseeable future. Looking at the investment summary, the current price is $160.39, which is fairly valued at this time, and our target price is $177.73. We recommend a buy of 20 shares for a total investment of $3,207.80 with a target price of $177.73.
All right, here are all of our sources that we use, and that concludes our presentation on Johnson & Johnson for the XLV sector.